All right, I'll get us started. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you may be, as our room is filling up with attendees. I want to say welcome to an MMIE session with our fabulous alumni. My name is Nusa Fain. I'm the director of the Masters of Management, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship program here at Smith School of Business. We run this program in collaboration with Queen's University Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science. And today's session is all about chatting with some fabulous alumni about their experience in MMIE. So you get a bit of an overview of what to expect, or maybe not expect as well, as you join the program. I will quickly do an introduction to the program. So what the structure is, what we're kind of differentiating ourselves with. And then I'll introduce our 4 alumni guests that will kind of chat to me a bit about their experience. So they come from 3 generations of MMIEs, and they will share kind of what they've been up to during the program. So you will see in your Zoom kind of toolbar a Q&A tab. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them anytime in between. Type them into the Q&A, and I have Beth, our application advisor, here to answer any application related questions. But if you also have questions either for myself or our alumni, feel free to put them in there and we'll answer them live. So just to get us started, a quick overview of our current success factors in MMIE. And as the world changes, we change with it. So we adapt to what innovation and entrepreneurship currently are. So our biggest thing with regards to teaching innovation and entrepreneurship relates to customizing your learning journey. So one, apart from 3 times in a year where you will be on campus in Kingston, in Ontario, Canada, you are able to do this program from anywhere else in the world. So 3 weeks of intensive on-campus sessions are then paired with synchronous and asynchronous online program delivery, where you will do 6 courses and 2 project courses, where the 2 projects are specifically related to whatever you want to do in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship. It can be a corporate project. It can be launching a new venture. It can even be a dissertation if you want a more research-oriented experience of innovation and entrepreneurship. What we do is we teach how to know, how to do, and how to become. So with our cutting edge faculty, we bring effective integration of theory and practice into our virtual and on-campus classrooms. So we teach all the key concepts, but we also ask you to integrate them for a specific problem or specific venture idea or corporate project, so that you learn by actually doing and executing whatever we teach. We have also a very strong coaching model. So next to your capstone advisor who will guide you through your big 908 innovation launch project, we also provide project and program advisors. So they take care of you throughout the journey on anything related to MMIE. It can be content related, it can be networking related, it can be problem solving, setting goals related. So each student gets their advisor that helps them run through the journey. And the thing we're most proud of is actually the diversity in our cohorts. So we currently in our MMIE 23 cohort have 18 different countries represented, about an even split between female and male participants. The year before, we had 21 countries representative. And that is really exciting because we're then able to bring perspectives from all across the world, from different ways of entrepreneurship and innovation. So ultimately what the program does, we run you through a toolkit that you and a framework where you develop all the relevant skills you may need in entrepreneurial or corporate innovation endeavors. This is what a year looks like in a nutshell. So you have 6 courses and 2 project courses, and then 3 in-person sessions on campus. We start off in August. The program runs from August to July, so a 1-year program. In August, you actually come to campus where we introduce you to one of the first courses, which is launching new ventures. Here we lovingly call it 888. You will learn to love the numbers we use to talk about courses. And we focus on building your entrepreneurial mindset and high performing teams. So we really work on team building. You get introduced to your first semester team where you work with them on a variety of assignments to complete in different courses. We also introduce 884, which is design and systems thinking, to get you into kind of that validation of an opportunity, ideation, empathy, building rapid prototypes to get solutions. That course starts in the in-person session. However, it then fully completes in September and October. This is followed by innovation in practice, 883, where you will look at the bigger picture around innovation and innovation strategies. Then we come back to campus in December to talk about processes, and we introduce the other 3 courses, which are managing innovation and technology, financing new ventures, and marketing and sales. We provide the professors in 3 dimensions, so you can then continue to work with them in 2 dimensions, synchronously and asynchronously online, where the courses then run in January, February, and March. The final residential on-campus session happens in late April, early May, where we talk about corporate innovation and everything else you may need around launching a venture and running corporate project. So law for entrepreneurs, negotiations, similar aspects. And on top of that, we layer the 2 course projects. So 808 is a market research project that you start kind of right at the start of the program, and you work on validating the market and the opportunity where you want to play. And then the big capstone, or 908 Innovation Launch Project, which we have run in the various formats. So sometimes it ran throughout the whole year. This year, we're running it as an incubator style exercise where you focus the last 3 months, so May, June, and July, only on 908. And you work with your advisor, your supporting professorial team, and anybody else you might need that we can source from our network on getting that venture launched, that corporate project completed, or that dissertation within innovation and entrepreneurship space done. So that's a year in a nutshell. Sounds easy enough, right? Let's see if it's actually easy enough. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so you can see the faces of our alumni better. So I'm thrilled to welcome Shirley, Una, Shagun, and Andrew into our midst, into our webinar, and chat to them a bit about their experiences. So I'm going to start with Una just because she is our most graduated graduate. She is an MMIE 2020 graduate. So she's been out of MMIE for the longest. So Una, it's great to have you in our midst. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, your profile, where you started before MMIE and where you're at now?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited. I feel a little bit old now, knowing that I'm the most graduated. It still feels like it just happened to me. So a little bit about me. My name's Una. My pronouns are she, her. I'm based in Canada. My background before heading into the MMIE program academically was really nonlinear. I started out in an English undergrad, very quickly decided that wasn't for me, and picked up some business courses. So I went into communications, and that was really sort of where I was working. I transitioned into the nonprofit and charitable sector and was working at a small national charity that was growing and really focused on empowering girls through sports. I was in a leadership role there and just really wanted to help grow the impact of my organization, and was really excited and interested in the program, both in the way it was delivered and what I felt like it could add to me personally and professionally. Since then, I've moved on and have leveraged my time in the program to join another charity. So I'm still in the charity and nonprofit sector. I work at Venture for Canada, which is a charity that works to foster the entrepreneurial skills and mindsets of young Canadians through a lot of work integrated learning projects. So with Venture for Canada, I work in the sort of innovation and impact growth space, and also work in a lot of strategic partnerships. So no 2 days the same. And yeah, really, really excited to be here, and nice to see some familiar faces on the call.
Excellent. Welcome, Una. Our second most graduate is Andrew, who's coming to us from New York, I hear. So Andrew is MMIE 2021, which was the only fully online COVID cohort. So Andrew, welcome. Tell us a bit about your profile and MMIE experience.
Yes, as the only COVID cohort, I think it was a beautiful experience because I got to see innovation and iteration happen on the fly with all the professors, and changing the courses itself. I come from the world of sports, so I spent the first couple of decades of my life as a professional figure skater, and I came into the MMIE program kind of in a transitionary period of my life, figuring out my next step and where I wanted to take my skills and the things I learned along the way, to pivot into a little bit more of the innovation stream. And I wanted to see where that took me. And so I came into MMIE with that in mind, with kind of an open mind. And so my capstone project changed many times, but it finally landed into a place where I've thrived. I've had some successes, and I love where I'm at now. I currently run my own mindset coaching company. I work in an education technology startup that's based in Austin, Texas, that utilizes adaptive learning applications with sports psychology as a hybrid model, and sit on board of directors for 2 different startups as well. And so it's been fun to put my learnings and from the MMIE into action, and feel like the value and the information that I got from everybody's different backgrounds and different views on life really came and thrived now in this ever-changing economy and space that we live in nowadays.
Excellent. It's fabulous to have you back in MMIE, Andrew. And then we have 2 more recent graduates that have just walked the stage of MMIE 2024 convocation about a month ago. So Shirley and Shagun have just graduated. Shirley, first over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself and your venture into MMIE.
Thank you, Nusa. Hi, everybody. I am Shirley. I'm located in Vancouver, and my background was more than a decade in finance. I did do business initially. No intentions to leave finance, but fell into product management and product development, and then chose through that unexpected journey to move into organizational agility. I am an organizational agile coach. In my company, it's a financial institution, but we also support the credit union system through providing technology-based solutions for them at scale and at low cost. So my initial intention looking for a program, because I spent 20 years out of school, so it was quite scary for me to get back into academia, and I was looking for something to help my work. I wanted to be able to help move the dial on corporate innovation within my organization so that we can then help the credit union system. What surprised me, though, in my journey is that going into it with a corporate innovation mindset, I always had in the back of my mind, but had zero confidence in my abilities to be an entrepreneur. So when I came out of the program, through that journey, I discovered, oh my goodness, I can be an amazing entrepreneur. And so I'm coming out of it going from a 0 to 100% confidence in my ability to be an entrepreneur. And so taking that drive now and that confidence with me, and knowing that I can still lean on and reach out to Nusa and my advisor JP and others at Queen's for additional support, and the alumni network for Smith, which is so wonderful, that I'll be able to lean on them for my next new adventures. I call them adventures because I get very excited about the two things that I'm going into next. I'm not leaving my job because I'm still very passionate about helping the credit union system, but I'm actually recently joining as a project manager for a ESG new venture nonprofit, and we're tackling the issue of social isolation in Vancouver, hopefully partnering with the new City of Vancouver Council to be able to launch this incredible adventure that won a hackathon that I recently was a part of in Vancouver. And we're hoping to go global, viral. So I'm very excited about that. That's why I call it an adventure. And then next year, I'll pick back up my capstone project where I left it off and hopefully be able to update it, because the ecosystem and the credit system changes so quickly in the financial institution space. And then hopefully to be able to update it and be able to launch it one day in the next year or two is my hope. So I may be calling on Nisha and JP again for some further conversations. So that is my story.
Thank you very much, Shirley. And just to point it out, right? Shirley just graduated, fair enough, but the resources at Queen's and at Smith and the alumni network are available to her for as long as she needs them. Now to our probably fastest MMIE we've ever had. So Shagun, you joined us as an Olympian. What did you get out of MMIE? And tell us a bit about your story.
Yeah, thanks, Nusa. And it's really great to be able to share some of my experiences and also see everybody's face here on the panel. Funny enough, I'm connected to everybody here on the panel in some way or form, which is really interesting. But yeah, a little bit about me. Like Nusa mentioned, I come from sports, and similar to Andrew and also funny enough, Una, I come from like a sports background. I came to the program as a two-time Olympian representing Canada, and I was just somebody, I'm like somebody who likes to think ahead. And so I knew that at some point I'm not going to be doing sports anymore. I'm not going to be, running or doing the hurdles. And so once I do officially retire and go into either the workforce, I also realized through like trying out many different internships and many different positions that at some point I would not be very helpful to an organization in that position for very long. And I would want to leave or try to do something or cause some sort of disruption within the company because I would not like the way it's going and I wanted to find something and take a little bit of risks. So I figured I probably need to dive into the entrepreneurship, stream. And I had a lot of ideas and I just wanted something that can provide me some structure in terms of how to flesh out those ideas and how to do it. And so coming into the MMIE program, my goal going in was to come out of the program either with a fully formed fledged business or an idea about how to start a business, or an idea for a business that was about to be started. And I actually, funny enough, have accomplished two of those things. So really, the program works. I started this small energy drink company called Stamina, trademark still to be figured out, and it's in the works. And then currently, I also did another venture called We Love Toast, which is Canada's first artisanal toast bar. And I'm sitting in the actual building unit right now for it at Staff Market, 28 Bathurst Street. If you're in Toronto and you want to come and get a little bit of a snack, come to 28 Bathurst Street, We Love Toast. But the program itself though really helped me to, like I mentioned, provide the structure for those ideas. Okay, what's a good idea? What's a good idea to pursue? Yes, it's a good idea, but is it a good idea even for me to do, right? Should I leave it to the side? And so the program for me really helped to flesh out those ideas and gain a lot of clarity in terms of the direction that I should be going for myself as an entrepreneur, even going forward. And also even to, if I were to work in an organization, what type of organization would best suit someone like me, right? And so that's what I really got out of the program. And also out of the program, funny enough, and this is a small story that I'll share real quickly. When I was doing my interview for the program, Sonia, who doesn't work for the program anymore, was interviewing me and we did everything. And then afterwards, later on, we're chatting. She said, I really like this program because there's a huge sense of family and everybody feels together and all that stuff. And so I'm really skeptical. I'm a skeptical person, like not in a bad way, I guess in a good way, but I was kind of like, haha, Sonia, I gotta sell the program, gotta do what you have to do, great, right? And but I'm telling you this right now, there really is a huge sense of family. I'm like, I was like on this side over here, before, and now I'm like way over here. Like I'm so like I drank the Kool-Aid, but I just like downed it and like drenched myself and like took a shower in it. Like it was the sense of community is amazing. The support that you have, the resources that you can access, everything. I was fully sold after, and it's funny. I laugh about it now because Sonia was absolutely right, and I chuckle. The girls, and this is the much I got out of the program. The girl who I'm currently dating, we were in the same group together, so I got a lot out of the program. So there's it's not only family, but you can get love at this program too. That's what you're looking for in this program. I'm just joking. But no, honestly, seriously, great program, provided me with a lot of structure and what I needed to do to execute on a lot of my ideas. And so I'm really looking forward to staying connected to part of the community, the culture, and also executing my ideas. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. The community is really a community, and the people who support you really do want to support you and see you win.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shagun. And I love the fact about family, particularly since we do work in kind of a hybrid environment. We're only on campus a couple of weeks in the year, and everything else runs synchronously or asynchronously online. And so I want to touch a bit on that. And I'm going to start with Andrew, just because he didn't get to do the in-person piece and it was fully virtual, right? So the courses run, as I mentioned, 5-week kind of runs, one course at a time, apart from the project courses that are overlaid. And some of the stuff is synchronous, some of it is online modules that you do at your own pace. Andrew, how did you approach that while also being, if I remember correctly, on tour skating?
Yeah, the beauty of the program is that it is all remote, and that's something that I leaned into because I was traveling so much. And unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, we never got to go on campus. I think it was fortunate because it created a strong bond that I have to this day with my cohort. And that family that Shagun was talking about, we still talk, we still support each other, and we still reach out if there's ever anyone in need, anyone needs any kind of brainstorming sessions, just kind of development sessions. We're willing to jump on a call and do sprints all the time. But yeah, for me, it was important. I remember the opening, kind of the opening calls. It was basically stated like, you're going to get out of the program what you put into it, and making sure that if you stay on top of your async work, then it makes the synchronous stuff that much more valuable. And I took that to heart. And so I was ensuring that I was always on top of, if not ahead of my async stuff, to really make sure that I could sink my teeth into all the books that were given, all the modules that were there, because there's some really valuable lessons that are there, but also the people that are on the calls, the professors there have lived these experiences. It's fun to have productive discourse and have conversations on those live calls, because that's where I felt like I learned and bonded the most with my entire cohort, and was allowed to have those sprinkles of magics, of thoughts that kind of came from those discussions that were in the sync work. And I also made the teamwork that much more fun and fulfilling. And so, creating, maybe this is back to my sporting habits, and that, I created my own practice schedules, and I made sure that I was always going through those modules and that information on a daily basis to really ensure that I was sinking my teeth into everything I could get from it, so that moving forward, I knew that I could hit the ground running.
Excellent, thank you. And Una, just to build off of that, so you did a corporate type of engagement, so you were working full-time. I think you may have been moving a continent at the same time as well. Could you talk a bit about how you structured your days to accommodate all of that and an educational program like MMIE?
Absolutely. Yeah, and my cohort was interesting. We had the real benefit of coming together in person for our first 2 training camps, and then COVID happened. So I think if there's one thing also too about MMIE, it's like you learn how to be incredibly adaptable, and nothing was more true during COVID. But yeah, Nusha, to your point, I joined MMIE a large part of it was, you know, because it was going to give me the flexibility to do all of the other things and sort of go after all of those other goals that I had in addition to my education. So I did continue to work full time. And yes, I did. I moved continents during MMIE and during the pandemic. So I moved from Canada to New Zealand, and it was the adventure of a lifetime, but it was possible because of the flexibility of the MMIE program. And I think to Andrew's point, like, you really do get out of it what you put in, but it offers you so many opportunities in this sort of non-traditional learning format. So I think a big thing for me in terms of structuring my time and my day to give myself the best possible chance to succeed was working with my employer. So right from the beginning, I, you know, really worked with my employer to identify, you know, the things I would need, whether that was like reducing my hours sometimes or flexing time at work to make sure that I was really present. But also, I think the thing MMIE gave me along the way was the language and ability to then go back and share the value to my employer so that they could see right away the benefit I was bringing into the workplace from the program. Like, I was able to apply learnings immediately into my workplace from MMIE, and that in turn created this great relationship with my employer. And they were really supportive of my journey because they saw the direct value. So I'd agree with Andrew. I was really big on making sure I was up on the asynchronous learning. I was really committed to my team. And I think, you know, Nusha, you mentioned the high performing teams are a big part of this program, and having just these incredible other people that I was working with. I felt so accountable to them and really wanted to get as much as I could from that incredible group, that I wanted to be my best self and bring my best self to every team activity. So I would say my life would be really different if I hadn't chosen MMIE. It really gave me the flexibility to chase all my dreams at the
Excellent.
same time.
While traveling.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Una. And maybe to touch on the teamwork, Shirley. So you're one of my recent graduates, and we did a bit of online, we did a bit of in person, we kind of did a hybrid. So MMIE 2022 was kind of a program that was pre, post, and mid-COVID. And the team, as Una said, plays a huge role in our program as well. What are your experiences in working in a team, and any tips and tricks you can share with our audience in succeeding within that component of the program?
Thank you, Nusha. Well, as we spoke about it earlier, one of the amazing things about this program is the diversity, and diversity of not just individuals, but physically where they're located, because many are traveling they're in residences, potentially crossing borders. So during our cohort, there were many who couldn't plan ahead due to COVID, and so their ability to collaborate with everybody meant that they had to work through challenges like technology and different time zones. I worked on 2 of my teams. We had individuals who our time zones were so different that I would have a 5 a.m. Team meeting, and then at 6 or 7 a.m., because I'm in Vancouver and the courses are run for Eastern Standard Time, I might have a class at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. But however, I could have a team member that would join when it's 5 a.m. for me, it's midnight or 11 p.m. for them. So they've finished a long day having worked full time, and their parent putting their children down and then getting some time to study and then jumping on a team call. I'm just waking up, trying to make my brain work at 5 a.m. and then doing a team meeting and then going and focusing in my classes. And then I jump into a full day's work before I can go back and shift back into thinking about a school and my education. So teamwork became a very important, not just in how we collaborated with each other, but as Una said, a high performance, a coaching, was very key to all of us being able to effectively and respectfully manage each other's time. And I think at the root and heart of making teamwork and collaboration virtually and having such wide time zone differences to work with potentially is being respectful and being kind. So one of the things that were two takeaways for me that I really loved about the program that I take away now and also apply to my workplace and my personal life as well is always empathizing and putting myself in another person's shoes. And maybe it is a conversation, and maybe it could be even a norm at the start of every team meeting is to just check in with each other and say, hey, how are things going? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10 is one of the things that we tried in one of my teams. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling energy and focus wise? Because there could be times where, and I'll use an example for myself, I lost a parent a few months before joining the program. Sorry, I'm just going to choke up a little bit. And so there were times going through the program where I was a 6 out of 10, but I didn't tell anybody, but had somebody ask, it could have made some collaboration a little bit easier. So be kind, check in with everybody, and really, really take away from what you learn from the high performance coaching that you will be receiving. Because Diane, and I think it will likely be a Diane again, Nusha can confirm, thank you. And she's wonderful. Take as much as you can out of that session. Learn as much as you can from her high performance coaching. Apply that to your teams. But yeah, respect and be mindful of where everybody's mind space is, because everybody's going through something. So yeah, it will be tough. I guarantee you it will be tough, but you can get through it. But you just got to talk to each other and be kind.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Shirley. And it is a big part of what we do. So as the starting session comes, high performing teams is the first workshop led by Diana Drury, like Shirley mentioned. So we try to set up the team for success. And we currently also have a team coach working with the students on a kind of monthly check-in basis to continue to support them within the program. So we have a question in the chat. Shagun, maybe you will address this one. So the question is around what kind of guest speakers, workshops, and other events have been part of MMIE. And even though you were a busy guy running and starting businesses, do you remember any of them, or did any of them stick in your mind?
Yes.
That was the correct answer.
So I guess your question, are there guest speakers and are there events? Yes. You will be like, especially during the cohort we guys all meet up together at those meetings, there'll be essentially, honestly, like events, but there'll be times that are set up specifically for guest speakers to come in, either previous alumni, like kind of like us, or other business leaders or other people in that space, a professional entrepreneurial space, who are doing something or doing things currently, and they will speak to their own experience. And the biggest thing from that is you really leaning in and drawing from that experience that they'll be sharing. So they'll be sharing a lot of information, and whether it's relevant to you, take what is relevant to you and leave what's not, right? And so that's the way I look at it. I think for me, during our last kind of our last kind of event, there were a lot of speakers who, for me, I was just trying to talk to all of them, because at that point, I think I had my idea pretty solid, pretty formulated. My research had been done. And so I was just asking questions of all of them. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can do, especially in this program, is to ask questions. Ask, because you never know. If you don't ask, you never get the answer, right? Or you never find out where to go to get the answer. So lots of guest speakers. There are workshops as well, like Nusha mentioned at the beginning, the team building workshop. That for me was also really beneficial going forward in my groups. I personally really use that to help my groups be really high performing. I'm from an athlete background, and I run relay. So on the track and field team, 4x100 meter relay. And so cohesion and synergy and being on the same page with everyone is really important and getting to stick around. And I think it's the same way in terms of a project or event, getting that project around to the finish line. You know, everybody has to be working together, has to be on the same page in order to do it. So take what you will from those guest speakers who do come in. I think Una just posted something, so take that in as well. A lot of great real world experience. So it's not just people talking, it's people who've done it. And so they're sharing their experience with you once again. So take that into account whenever you are, whenever you do, I guess, enter into those events. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. And just to mention a few of them, right? We work from the building your mindset through running through the processes to scaling your ventures. So in the first mindset piece, we focus a bit on the awakened company. So Catherine Bell is one of the Smith alums that kind of joins us on a regular basis. We always try to work with alumni to come in and share their post MMIE experiences, because that makes it come alive, right? Post program, we've done these and that and all the other stuff. We've also had the director of the Center for Excellence for Innovation from NASA join us to talk about open innovation in some of the cohorts. We're hoping to bring him back in the new points in time. And then successful Smith entrepreneurs coming either from MMIE or from the other programs that are able to kind of work with us on that scaling piece. So how do we get to from 0 to 1 and to 1 to 100, right? Those are kind of the experiences that we feel are also better shared, and to integrate that theory and practice through entrepreneurs and corporate innovators. In the December training camp, we actually bring in the technology director, and this is where I apologize if I misrepresented the titles, but he talks about corporate innovation at Loblaw. We complete a corporate challenge for Loblaw. And then in the final in-person session, we actually do a corporate hackathon. So we invite companies to share their problems. And those problems are then solved by the student teams. So some of those experiences have included companies from construction. There was Deloitte for consultancy. So to kind of answer the question that was in the chat, yes, consulting careers are something people come out of here, specifically potentially within an innovation and entrepreneurship space, right? So a more specific focus on consulting rather than just the general consulting practice. So there are a variety of speakers we bring in, because for us, that's really important to integrate theory and practice. But the big part of the journey is the capstone, or our loving 908. And Andrew mentioned that he changed it about a couple of times. Can you talk a bit to the experience, Andrew?
Yeah, the 908, I would honestly say in the very beginning was a bit daunting to me, because I was still in this big exploratory phase of where I felt I was both useful but excited as well. And one of the things that everyone's kind of touched on is the team dynamics of things. Now, we had different teams along our different sessions, but I actually joined with a bunch of students from my cohort, and we created a ideation sprint team. And every week we would meet and go through ideation sessions and kind of just shoot ideas out there. And we, through that, developed some different plans that we went out and tested. And I went into the agriculture space for a long time, and then just realized through my testing and, you know, kind of my research, both primary and secondary, you know, it wasn't a space that I wanted to explore. But that was because of the tools and the information that I was given from the MMIE program. That was, as we learned through the session, more and more that came from me. I was like, okay, I need to pivot. I need to figure that out. But I wouldn't have been as comfortable with that if it hadn't been for the adaptability that I had learned through the courses. And that kind of brought me into the space, actually talking with the coaches, with the coaching team, my advisor, but also one of the other coaches. And that's another great thing. There's so many great things, but another great thing about the coaching environments was you'll be assigned to one coach, but all the other coaches are there to help and support you along the way. And I connected with one of the other coaches, and we've actually worked on projects and worked far beyond the program. And so, you know, it's like spaces like that that got me on the realm of coaching, of mindset, of kind of the innovation stream within education that I am today. And that all started because of my 908 kind of divergent thinking of exploring everything, and then kind of coming into the space that I am now.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. And so you touched on the coaching team and the advisors. Maybe Una, coming back to you with everything going on in your life, how did the advisor contribute to your MMIE journey?
I cannot say enough good things about my advisor and coach situation with MMIE. I had the wonderful opportunity to work with JP, and I continue to work with him. So similar to Andrew, and I think what other people have said, that door has remained open through many, many years, many opportunities, like specific examples, like has coached me through contract negotiations and things that like just come up in my real life now. And I still lean on that and really respect that relationship, and I'm really grateful to it. I think I worked hard for MMIE, but MMIE worked really hard for me too. And I really appreciate that. I took so much out of it. I think the coaching for me, and to Andrew's point as well, I changed my 908 multiple times. I came into the program thinking maybe I wanted to be an entrepreneur and maybe I wanted to start my own business. And through, I think, self-reflection and a lot of the things that MMIE pushes you to do, two things happened. One, I realized I'm really like an intrapreneur. I am a person who likes to provide value and innovation to a place I'm already in, and I don't need or want to be a founder necessarily, maybe not yet. And the second thing is just life passed me an opportunity to advance in my career, and MMIE was flexible enough to let me move in that direction within my 908 and continue in a path that was going to work for me while also gaining the most out of the program. So I think MMIE provided a really incredible structure and framework to learn in, but also enough flexibility that I could really, really make it work for what I wanted to get out of it. And the coaching through that process was a really big part of it. I can't say enough as well. There's sort of the technical coaching around like your projects and your academic outcomes, but there was a lot of personal support from Nusa as well. I think through things like everyone going through a pandemic, making sure that we would have, you know, I think bi-weekly check-ins with the full MMIE team to make sure that your project was on track and that you were getting really great feedback and you could iterate and pivot. And it's a really special and unique environment where you are very supported, especially if you take the initiative to really engage with that support. So can't say enough good things about it. I continue to be really impressed by the engagement, and have also been, you know, inspired to look into some leadership coaching myself through the wonderful coaching that I've received through the program.
Excellent. Thank you, Una. Go ahead, Shaguna. I was going to say you laughed at something. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting actually because Una was my mentor for an entire year before I actually joined the program. And so she was my mentor because I applied for this program through Game Plan in the COC. So shout out to the Game Plan in the COC if they ever catch this. But it was this mentorship program, and funny enough, I got matched up with Una, and Una was going through the program, and it was really interesting because I was considering applying to go to the program, and so I kind of got a firsthand, like in our monthly check-ins, Una, I remember like you kind of discussing changing things and going through different things, and your coaching with JP and all that stuff, and that really made me think about the program and like what I wanted to do and how I would be able to go through it and get the support in order to be able to do it too. And so, and that there wasn't any issue with switching because because I mean, you're going to New Zealand, you're doing all the stuff, everything was going on at the same time. And so I remember we had some really good chats. And she's on my podcast too. If you want to check out my podcast, we had a really good discussion there as well. The Inner Olympian podcast, Mindset Coaching Company. You want to check that out? The Inner Olympian podcast.
I can't believe
Spotify
you
and Apple.
did it again. So this is how Shagun went through the MMIE program. He is a marketing guru from anything that he sets his mind to. And he used that really well for a variety of things, right? One, his own project. And I can guarantee you the full 124 people of the cohort knew what Shagun's project was. I am sure every one of them still remembers the tagline. But what Shagun really did, right? So the mentorship program came from the Olympians. We also do one because we acknowledge that that is a really important piece of the onboarding. So our fabulous alumni actually engage with you in the onboarding stage. So the moment you kind of are enrolled in the starting programs in May, you get paired up with an alum volunteer that can help you answer any questions around anything program related. So Shagun made use of that prior to applying. That is kind of the going into the journey. But to kind of wrap us off, and feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A if you still have them. Shirley, what was your biggest learning from MMIE, and do you have a piece of advice for our future MMIEs?
My biggest learning was leaning into it, and if I could tie that to advice, I would say be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to be so uncomfortable throughout this program, but I assure you, what comes out of it at the end of it, in one word, is for me, and we asked many, and Shagun can speak to it, in our cohort, if you could use one word to describe your experience. Many of us said transformational. I would love to do a word cloud for our cohort. Probably transformational would be really big in the word cloud. So lean into it. And as Una and Andrew said as well, you get what you put into it. But really, really get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You could walk away from a challenge or something that you really don't want to do, or you're afraid of, or not quite sure about it. But I say walk through that door, because if you, in real life, you failure means you'll lose money, could impact your family, could impact your career. There are a lot of heavy things that comes out of failure potentially in the real life. But this is a safe environment. Fail fast, fail often. This is the time to fail. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Excellent. Thank you, Shirley. So Shagun, Shirley said transformational. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good word to describe it. I mean, it sounds really weird, but I'm a completely different person than I was before. And I don't know how you would think of me before, but I was different. And so I totally agree. And I'm pretty sure everybody here is going to say this, a similar thing, which is to lean into it. Understand that 99% is not 100%. So give it your all, like really give it your all. Really, like Shirley said, lean into it. I'm pretty sure other people are going to say dive in, go all in. And not necessarily go on like throw, caution to the wind, whatever, but just like really apply like your mind, apply when your emotion, your senses, everything into what it is, that you want to get out of it yourself. So whatever it is that you want to get out of the program, put everything into getting that out of the program. It'll give it to you, right? I think of it like, a stream or like a well, and you have an empty bucket that you want filled, right? But the well isn't going to fill your bucket. You have to take your bucket, put it into the well and draw it out, right? And if it's not full, then put it back in until it's full, right? And then you'll get everything that you want out of it. That's the way that I look at it. That's the way I think of it. And that's the way maybe I would advise someone who's on this call to look at it as well. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Una, with regards to the journey, is there something that we haven't talked about today about MMIE that you'd want the future MMIEs to know?
I think for me personally, like I found it was transformational for sure. I think the part of the MMIE journey that you have to remember is it's a journey, and that you have to be in it for the journey and to stay curious along the way about yourself, about others, about what you're learning, about the opportunity, the potential. Like for me, I came in thinking I knew exactly what I wanted out of the program. And I was humbled. Like, I was humbled by the other people in the room. I was humbled by what I didn't know. But then I also, like, through the journey, built up my confidence in understanding areas that I could provide value and areas that I could add to teams. And so I think just, I would say, like, come in with that focused mindset, apply yourself, but stay open, stay curious, because you might find that the program offers you something that you didn't expect when you came in, or that you didn't expect when you decide to, enroll. And I think being open to those opportunities takes you to a very, very special place, and probably the place you're going to want to end up in the end.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Una. And so Andrew, for you, the question in the Q&A, would you have any tips on how to go through the interview process?
The interview process. Honestly, be yourself and be honest. The staff are so helpful and so wonderful as people. And at the end of the day, if you're honest with yourself and you show what your intentions are and what you want from it, they'll answer the questions that you have, but they'll also get to see your spirit and if you truly belong in the MMIE program, because there is a spirit amongst innovators and entrepreneurs that's within us, and if you just let that shine, then that's all I did. So that's all I would say. And another thing, just to kind of reflect back on something that I don't know if we touched on enough, is there's vast knowledge within the professors, but also the breadth of experiences and knowledge of the whole cohort. I think that's another beautiful thing, because usually you talked about this, like people from 18 different countries or 20 countries, we come from such different backgrounds, such different economies, environments, experiences. And I learned so much by just being on team calls, by being on individual coffee chats with the rest of my cohort, that opened up thoughts and experiences and just mind expansion with that left me that different person. Going in, I was of one mind, but now I'm of multiple minds and have that perspective that's definitely changed. So it's another thing. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Shagun, you looked like you wanted to say something.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with what Andrew said, and also what Una said, and also what Shirley said too. But it's so true. Like, there's so much within the cohort, the people who you're going to be in the program with, that like it's humbling, even for someone, and sometimes intimidating, I almost say sometimes. So even someone like me and some of the athletes you were talking to, right? And you're like, oh, like, yeah, cool, I'm an Olympian. I've done a TED Talk. I've done X, Y, and Z, or X, Y, and Z, and D, and E, whatever, right? But there's other people who come in who've done way more, or just like 10 times smarter than you. It's not in a bad way, but it's just like, wow, you have so much to learn, which is why I like to say, like, ask questions. And yeah, it is really humbling. And so just take that into account, really glean from, everybody, the professors, your classmates, your the people who are going to come in and speak to you, everybody. You have so much to learn and so much to gain, and you can really value and benefit from it. Who knows what's going to happen? Like, you might think you could, like, to Una's point, come in thinking one thing and end up leaving another way, but that's actually where you actually want it to be at the end of the day. You just didn't know it. And so I think that's super valuable. It's a great point to that I just wanted to, I guess, highlight. And also to the anonymous and attendee, in terms of interview tips, fake it till you make it. No, I'm just joking. Don't do that. Don't do that. But just go with confidence in who you are. To Andrew's point, go in confidence of who you are in terms of what you want from the program, and for sure that'll shine through.
And don't worry too much, because we're all really nice people. So on that note, final chance to ask any questions in the Q&A box. I am actually really humbled to have such extraordinary people in the room with me that have gone through the program. So just so you know, I'm a professor on the program. I'm the director of the program. And well, these four in the room represent a whole area of people, right? There's over 500, I think now, MMIE graduates that are there to help you and work with you to make this your success story. So if you have any questions whatsoever, get in touch. Feel free to reach out over email, over LinkedIn. Go to our MMIE web page on the Smith Business School sites, and you will have all the details in terms of application. And just do the jump and apply. So Shirley, Una, Shagun, Andrew, thank you very much for joining me. It is a great pleasure having you in, well, having had you in the cohorts, but also having you as the alumni family. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch, and have a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much, Lucia.
Thank you.
Bye.